Today, I'm speaking about visitor visa and the whole process of getting them and some of the challenges we've been seeing about getting visitor visa applications approved. So many people from most countries require visitor visas unless you're on the list of visa exempt countries such as the United States. Mexico now no longer requires these visitor visas, and other countries in Western Europe, for the most part, also don't require visitor visas in Australia and New Zealand. But for all of you and other people who require visitor visas, like for instance, citizens of Ghana, like I was born in Ghana, if I wasn't a Canadian citizen and I was visiting, I would need to get a visa before I could get on the plane to come to Canada. And so I want to talk about that process because it definitely is not just a casual fill in the forms and submit. I always tell clients that you need to provide more information and more proof that your actual intention is to come as a visitor and to leave after you've had your visit, whether it's for tourism or for business meetings, or whatever the purpose is, that you will leave after the end of your trip. That is one of the main things that Canadian immigration is looking at when they look at applications at consulates and high commissions overseas is, will this person leave upon entering, or is their intention to stay in Canada and to not leave because they want to convert their intention from visitor to dual intention, which means permanent resident. So there's a lot to provide in the application, usually for visitor visas besides forms. You need to show them that you have a job or a reason to return. You need to show them that you have assets that are being left there, whether it's your house, your car, in business, etc., and that you have family that remain in the country that you will be returning to, so that it doesn't look like you are leaving and never returning. And I have to say that sometimes the visitor visa application process is frustrating because it doesn't seem to be applied equally or fairly. So honestly, depending on what countries people are from, there are times I find it's very difficult to get an approval from certain countries. There's definitely a bias, and some of that is unfair, and some of it may be because citizens of certain countries have a tendency to overstay or have a tendency to stay and change their intention or to become illegal. And so there's much more scrutiny about certain citizens of certain countries. And so our job, and the clients as well, is to ensure that we provide tons of information proving the reason for the trip. They have the finances that support themselves while they're here. They have a visitor letter from, let's say, a family member or a friend confirming they're coming and when they're leaving. They have a ticket. They have reasons to go back. They may not be coming with everybody in their family, so that the family members, the children or the spouse, will remain, and then they will be returning to them. So those are all the kind of challenges that I usually find, is how to prove that you will return and your intention is temporary. If you say, for instance, one of our clients recently who came to us had been with another law firm or consultant, I think, and indicated he wanted his girlfriend to come to Canada. Canada immigration doesn't like that very much because they see it as that girlfriend is coming and then we'll stay and they'll get married. And so they know that the intention at the front end isn't temporary. So that's not something you want to say. You can say you're coming to see your friend. We're not misrepresenting, but you don't want to get into the details of a personal, close relationship like that, because immediately their spidey senses go up and they think you will be coming and not returning. The other thing that's challenging is if people have tried numerous times and been refused, it's very difficult to change that. So if you have one or two refusals and then you come to us, we have to find ways to really change that, or we have to go in a whole nother direction. And often I'll say, let's look at school, let's look at work, because I don't think they're going to change if this is the third or fourth time you're applying. It doesn't make things different or better. We can always add more to the application to strengthen it, but they are already looking at the history from the failed applications. Another thing I really want to stress is that there are sections on the immigration forms that say, have you ever been refused a visa or entry or deported or anything? And it's for the whole world. It's not just for Canada. And many times people mistakenly think that they're answering that they've never been refused a visa to Canada when they're doing their visitor visa application. And that immediately can lead to more troubles because then they consider that you have misrepresented. It's so important to always tell the truth when you're doing an application. And as I've said before, visitor visas for certain countries unfairly are a challenge. And if you have not traveled outside of your home country ever, that's one of the other criteria. If you've never left and gone to another country, they're not always going to feel confident giving you the visitor visa because they haven't seen you've been approved to go to the UK or Western Europe or traveled, as somebody who's never left the country, maybe never even been on a plane. They are suspicious when you now want to come to Canada, but you have no evidence of prior travel anywhere else. So these are the indicators that Canadian immigration looks at and that you have to overcome: travel history, visa refusal history, financial means, and reason for coming, and how we justify your ties back home. So I hope this has been helpful. We do assist with visitor visa applications, and we always want to do it first at the front end to give you the best chance of success. But if you have tried before and been refused and years have gone by and you want to try again, please do call us at Ackah Business Immigration Law, and we'll review your history and see what we can do to see if we can improve your application for a second try. Thank you so much. Take care. Bye-bye.